Study Unit 3. This presentation covers descriptive research designs using surveys. In this presentation, you will learn the advantages and disadvantages of using quantitative descriptive survey research designs, the type of errors that occur in survey research, the strengths and weaknesses of each type of survey method, and selecting the appropriate survey method. Determination of whether the research design should be descriptive is based on three factors. First, the nature of the initial decision or problem. Second, the set of research questions. And third, the research objectives. First, when the nature of the initial research problem or opportunity is either to describe specific characteristics of existing market situation or to evaluate current marketing mix strategies, then descriptive research design is an appropriate choice. Second, if the management's research question focus on issues such as who, what, where, when, and how, the target population or market structures, then a descriptive research design is appropriate. Finally, if the task is to identify meaningful relationships, determining whether true differences exist, or verify the validity of relationships among the marketing phenomena, then descriptive research design should be considered. The conceptualization process is aided by developing a model that shows the predicted causal relationships between variables. Accurate conceptual models are based on proper literature reviews. The process of conceptualization includes identifying variables or constructs to study, specifying hypotheses and relationships, and preparing a diagram that represents the relationships visually. A variable is an observable item that is directly measured in a research study. For example, gender, age, company name, number of employees, number of customers, amount spent, and etc. A construct is an unobservable concept measured indirectly by several related variables. For example, service quality, satisfaction, materialism, best customer, etc. Relationships are associations or links between two or more variables. For example, low price is related to high sales, or more frequent exposure to advertisements is related to high awareness. An independent variable is a characteristic that influences or explains the dependent variable either in a positive or negative way. For example, demographics often explain attitudes, opinions, and behaviors. A dependent variable is a variable that you are trying to understand or predict. For example, satisfaction, loyalty, sales, shopping frequency, etc. A hypothesis is an empirically testable statement of a relationship developed to explain phenomena, often based on theory. Here is an example of a theoretical model on restaurant customer loyalty. The potential hypotheses are: satisfaction is positively related to perception of food, employees, service, value, and atmosphere, while loyalty is positively related to satisfaction. There are two general approaches to descriptive research: survey research and observation. In survey research, the researcher asks structured questions about what respondents think, feel, and do. The result is a quantitative study using numbers and statistics to summarize attitudes, behaviors, demographics, etc. It is one of the most often used research methods. In observation, the researcher use of scanner data or computerized internet information, such as clickstream, retail checkout, etc., to describe behaviors. It is increasingly used in marketing research. There are two general types of errors in survey methodology. Errors, also referred to as bias, reduce the accuracy and quality of the data. The two major types of error in survey methodology are random sampling error and systematic error, or non-sampling error. Random sampling error statistically measures differences between the actual sampled results and the estimated true population results. Systematic errors are errors that can enter the survey research design that are not related to sampling issues. There are four major types of non-sampling errors, namely respondent errors, measurement or questionnaire design errors, incorrect problem definition, and project administration errors. Respondent errors occurs when respondents cannot be reached to participate in the survey process, do not cooperate, are unwilling to participate in the survey's question-answer exchange activities, or respond incorrectly or in an unnatural way to the questions asked in the survey. For measurement and design error, researchers and decision makers must recognize that the quality of data can suffer from problems resulting from inappropriate design of the constructs, scales, and survey questionnaires. There are five major sources of measurement and design errors, namely construct development error, scale measurement error, survey instrument error, data analysis error, and misinterpretation error. Faulty problem definition error occurs when decision makers and/or researchers misinterpret the true nature of the problem situation. Lastly, project administration error occurs when improper execution of the steps in gathering and processing data. Characteristics of non-sampling errors include creating a form of systematic variation in the data. They are controllable. They cannot be directly measured by statistical formula, and they are interactive in nature. Almost all survey methods can be classified as person-administered, telephone-administered, or self-administered, including online. Person-administered survey methods have trained interviewers, observers that ask questions and record down respondents' answers. There are three forms: executive interviews, mail intercept, and purchase intercept interviews. Executive interviews are personal interviews exchanged with a business executive conducted at his or her business office. Mail intercept methods is face-to-face personal interview that takes place in a mall setting. Purchase intercept interviews are face-to-face interviews that take place immediately after purchase of a product or service. Telephone-administered surveys can be further classified into traditional telephone interviews, computer-assisted telephone interviews, completely automated telephone interviews, and wireless phone surveys. Under traditional phone interviews, question and answer exchanges are conducted via telephone, while computer-assisted telephone interviews integrate telephone and computer system. Under completely automated telephone interviews, computer dials a telephone number and a recording is used to introduce and administer the survey. Lastly, under wireless phone surveys, data are collected on standard wireless phones. Under self-administered surveys, selected respondents read the surveys and record their own answers, not the interviewers. There are three main types of self-administered surveys, including mail surveys, mail panel surveys, and drop-off surveys. Mail surveys are self-administered questionnaire that is delivered to the selected respondent and returned to the researcher by mail. Mail panel surveys are questionnaires sent to a group of individuals who have agreed in advance to participate. Lastly, drop-off surveys are hand-delivered to selected respondent. Online survey methods include fax surveys, email surveys, and internet surveys. Fax surveys are self-administered questionnaires delivered by fax, while email surveys are self-administered surveys delivered and returned by email. Internet surveys are self-administered questionnaires on the Internet for prospective subjects to read and complete. There are three main groups of factors for selecting the appropriate survey method, including task characteristics, situation characteristics, and respondent characteristics. Under task characteristics, we need to consider the difficulty of task, the stimuli needed to elicit the response, the amount of information needed from the respondent, and the research topic sensitivity. Under situational characteristics, we need to take care of budget, completion time frame, and quality requirement. Lastly, under respondent characteristics, diversity, incidence rate, respondent participation, and strategies must be considered. To summarize, a variable is an observable item that is identified as a focus of study and used as a measure on a questionnaire. A construct is an unobservable concept that is measured by a group of related variables. Relationships are association between two or more variables. A hypothesis is an empirically testable but yet unproven statement about relationships between variables. Researchers need to evaluate the errors in research results. All errors are either random sampling errors or non-sampling errors. Survey methods are divided into three generic types: person-administered survey, telephone-administered survey, and self-administered survey. There are three major factors affect the choice of survey methods: situational characteristics, task characteristics, and respondent characteristics. Reflection question: what types of research studies lend themselves to using emails as the communication methods in surveying respondents? What are the advantages and disadvantages of using email surveys?